Thanks for having me. And beautiful words, Chris, and beautiful work. So thank you so much for that. I'd just like to acknowledge the Gadigal and thank them for everything they can teach us about the connection between people and place. I'd also like to say happy birthday to Semi-Permanent. 20 years is no joke. It's kind of like when you're a human being, 20 is your prime, but when you're a business, 20 is always really terrible. And the fact that these guys are the best they've ever been at the moment is really wonderful. So thankfully, this is not a TED Talk, and I don't need to bang on about noble purpose. What I'm actually going to talk to you guys about is belief. I reflect a lot about what Right Angle does. We're an urban innovation company, so we're trying to make cities better. And really, I think our superpower, if anything, is that we believe things can be better. We don't just hope that they can be better. And that belief starts a process of thinking and working, which ultimately changes things. So the beliefs that I'm going to talk to you guys about are relevant to all of the work that we do around the world. So we're doing things like Google's new campus headquarters in San Jose. In London, we're doing lots of work on retail in neighborhoods that are gentrifying rapidly, and thinking about how, when you've got people of a lot of means and of lesser means, do you create a retail experience which treats people with dignity and equality. In Johannesburg, we're working in the Badlands, the slummiest neighborhood in the city, right across Australia and through Asia. So we've got like a nice global view of what's going on, and I think that's really important in city thinking. Like, Australia can be a little bit provincial and parochial, and we don't look enough at what's happening around the world and learn from it. And nor do we actually share what we're really good at with the rest of the world. So we're very lucky at Right Angle to have this kind of global palette. So these are beliefs that I think are directly relevant to any city that you're operating in the world. The first is a bit of a nerdy one. Cities behave like nature, and a principle of nature and physics, the second law of thermodynamics, is that in an energy system, if you do not invest more energy in it, it will fall apart. Okay, so our language has that represented in lots of times. Ashes to ashes, shit happens, all of those kind of sayings are all about the second law of thermodynamics. Now, cities are systems of energy. They fall apart. If you don't invest your time, your money, your energy, whatever you've got in making them better, they do not organically improve. So we've learnt this in a very interesting way in the work that we do in Johannesburg, the most dangerous neighborhood outside of a war zone for many, many decades, which was totally vacated by white people in what was called the White Flight. All of the white people in Johannesburg moved out of the city and into the gated suburbs. And it quite quickly devolved into total anarchy. And over the last 10 years or so, we've been helping a developer rebuild that particular place in a really simple way. We've said, you own a lot of land. Every time you develop, you make money. We need to take a proportion, just a small sliver by your standards, of that money and reinvest it in something which creates this place, Marbeneng, as a desirable place to be. And it's not about public art, and it's not about beautiful things or like colorful hoardings or any of that Instagram-friendly stuff. The money is spent on attracting local businesses that can employ local people. Because when you're operating in a place where people's parents and parents have never had jobs, the thing that makes them proud to be there is actually having employment. So that's what we do with our life at Right Angle. We invest our energy in helping cities from falling apart. The second thing is that cracks let the light in. So we've been through a pretty dark and discombobulating time, I think, with COVID. And it's really unsettling to feel cracks opening up in how you live your life, what you think of your work or where you live or the community that you live around. But we can really embrace that confusion and that kind of darkness and obscurity that we're in to try and think of better ways of being in the future. I don't believe in the good old days. Our cities were not that great. Our communities are not that strong. And I think COVID has taken an x-ray of society and shown us where we are sick and how we can be better. Certainly for the businesses that we run at Right Angle, we own a cinema, we own a health club, two of the worst businesses to have in a pandemic. But they're so much stronger for having gone through it. And now we're entering an era in Sydney. We're helping reanimate all of the shitty retail space in Central Station, which has basically fallen apart through the pandemic. And we have COVID to thank for that. So I say that delicately because millions of people have died, but there is, if we really put our minds to it, something beautiful and positive to take out of COVID. The third belief is really, again, like a reference to nature. The most verdant, lively, productive, beautiful places in the natural world are all complex. Think jungles, barrier reefs, diversity, layers, weak, strong, big, small, it all happens in one space. In cities, we have, unfortunately, like a kind of attitude of plantation thinking. What we do is something which works well, usually because it sells, and we do more and more of the same thing. It's industrial age thinking, just replicate, replicate, replicate. Cities need to be wild like jungles. They need diversity for their energy and for their interest. And as long as we continue to plan and design things that are just a little bit different than they were before, our cities are going to be flat and undernourishing. This is a pretty contentious thing for me to say, to be honest, because in placemaking, there's this famous lady called Jane Jacobs who said, the city is for people. And I actually just really don't believe that's true. It is in part, but there's much more to cities than that. Be aware of it this way, everything that we do in the city here is of direct relevance to flora and fauna in the countryside and in the wild, and for us to be thinking about cities as existing purely in our service is just a very anthropocentric view of the world that's not going to serve us well. So the more that we kind of contemplate the consequences of our action outside of cities and make it not just for people, the stronger our cities will be. Another contentious thing, the suburbs are no place to raise a child. I know that's like quite a shitty thing to say to a lot of people, and there's beauty in your like 2.3 hectare site, or 2.3 children. 2.3 hectare house is a big house. Quarter acre block, 2.3 children, that trope of suburban life. Of course it has a beauty. It's a real Australian dream. But if you're deadly serious about the sustainability problems that we face as a world at the moment, you realize that suburbs are just not fit for purpose. And cities are both the problem and the solution to our sustainability issues. And the last of my beliefs is just that we need to recognize we're part of the problem. I'm not sure if you guys have ever had this situation where you're supposed to meet up with someone and they call you from their car and they say, hey, I'm really sorry, I'm running late, but I'm stuck in traffic. And you're like, you are the traffic. You're in your car, you're part of the problem. And a lot of kind of activism at the moment is about saying we activists, our enlightened selves, see the world differently and all of you people are the problem. But that's not actually the way that it is, Discussing like the future of the creative industries problems outside of CarriageWorks kind of overlooks the fact that the way that we discuss it in here at CarriageWorks is also part of the problem. So as soon as we take some responsibility for what's not good about cities as a society, the quicker they will change. So we do all of this work around the world. I love it. It's interesting. It's textured. I feel like we really make a difference. And we'll continue to do it. Like, we're 17 years old at the moment, which is horrifying. I'm just absolutely in love with cities. And that's because they are our best efforts to get along as people. Great cities are tolerant and daring, productive, efficient, all of these fantastic attributes. And so we're going to continue giving all of our energy to it. I'm looking forward to chatting about it with the rest of the people. Thank you.